Okay, now it's time for a segment we like to call So They Say. So it turns out women are staying single even longer. And many companies are actually benefiting from it. I like this story. Listen to this. So according to a study by Morgan Stanley, 45% of working age women will be single by 2030. That's up from 41% last year. And companies like Nike and Lululemon stand to benefit the most out of it. You know why? It's because both single men and women tend to spend more time exercising than their married counterparts. So the question, of course, I want you to chime in. Use that hashtag MorningRushATL, especially if you are a single woman. But the big thing here is that a lot of retailers are going to be benefiting, such as TJ Maxx, Nordstrom, Old Navy, because a lot of single women and men, they spend their time not only exercising, but eating out with friends. Also buying just extra clothing, buying electronics.
So it's great for the economy to be single.
Isn't that sad? But that's what this article's saying.
Not disputing the facts.
Absolutely. I spend a lot of time with myself, and I spend money when I take myself out to brunch or take myself out to dinner.
Listen, for the married folks, you know.
Francesca taking herself out. I know that people
Chime in, use the hashtag.
lining up to take
Do you
out
find
to
that you
dinner,
buy
young lady.
workout gear as a married couple?
It's hard to find time to exercise.
I mean, because you hike a lot.
I do hike a lot, which is relatively inexpensive. I buy a pair of tennis shoes and go for a couple of years, or hiking boots. And used to play tennis. That was another kind of inexpensive way of exercising. But married, we exercise together. We walk together. So there's some benefit to that.
Okay.
Yeah. No
Chime
gear
in,
required
married
for that.
man.
No gear required. No extra gear required for that. Pair of shorts, some sneakers. Get on,
And
get on
probably the
road.
eye's not as judgy, right?
Not at all.
You've already landed her,
Right.
right?
Long time ago.
No need to work anymore?
Well,
Another
still some work
discussion.
need to be done.
Okay.
Women tend to be happier when they are single. Data analysts at Mintel say about 60% of women are happy with their status of single, while nearly 50% of men are satisfied going solo. The study also shows that 75% of single women have not actively tried to be in a relationship in the last year, compared with about 65% of men. So we're only talking of a difference of about 10%. But here's what the study says is some of the reasoning behind it. It comes down to work, and they say that in general it shows, whether you believe this or not, or this is true in your relationship, that women do a little more work when it comes to relationships. So we're not just talking about chores and cooking and cleaning, but the emotional work, Allie, that goes into relationships. So you can see kind of where that would be way heavily on the women versus the men.
Sure, and this is for heterosexual couples.
Yep.
We want to emphasize that. I do think that a lot of times when you look at a marriage, a lot of the women are doing more of the household chores, and then especially nowadays, women are working just as much as men are, so then they feel like they have the burden of being responsible for children, being responsible for the household chores, and bringing home a paycheck.
Women also, they say, are better at having kind of alternative social networks. So they actually, this was interesting, I didn't know, the studies show that women who don't have a partner are more active in social activities. It's the opposite for men. Men, Jason, they say, at least the studies say, men tend to do more when they're partnered up.
It is very interesting. Here's the thing, 60% of women saying that, you know, I'm single and I'm happy. I mean, if we've learned anything over the last couple of weeks, it's that men are horrible. And so 60% of women, should be 100% of women. We men are not doing that great of a job as being a partner. The other part of that is interesting, I think, is that there's this stereotype, right, of the single guy. Like, especially, I will say, as a guy who's been married for 19 years.
What do you think of that single guy?
Well, you think it sounds great. Like, you're single, you're living the life.
Do whatever you want.
And to say that half of the men who are single are not happy with it, well, again, it's because women are awesome. So, right, if you're a single guy, you're like,
men are needy.
You're like, I need one of these amazing women in my life. That's what it is.
Jason,
That's my
you
theory.
know your audience very, very well. And you know what? I agree with everything that you're saying. So it all works.
That's why you get along with all the women you work with.
I've seen a lot of men, though, who get out of long-term relationships tend to try, at least from my personal experience, get back into
right
them.
back in.
Whereas women take a little more time to say, okay, like I'm going to kind of explore and be myself for a little bit.
Well, and I think, too, women naturally just have bigger social networks. They keep in touch with relatives, they keep in touch with their family members, and they tend to have a bigger friend pool than men.
A little easier to be
I
single
just
than
want to be
maybe.
clear, I'm very happy being married.
How many times have you said that on this show? I want a montage of every time Jason says, I'm very happy.
I just want it on the
being married."
record. I just want it on the record.